I first met Maddie Eade when we were sat next to each other in year 7. That's where it started, but I can pinpoint a few moments when we became full-on bros. There was a moment when he picked up a shoebox full of texters and threw it into a fast-moving fan while the teacher was out of the room. That was cool. There was the experiment at the back of the classroom under the stationery cabinet where he wanted to see which piece of fruit, an apple, a banana or an orange, would gather the most mould. Science, it was the orange. And our mutual love of Mad Max movies. But it wasn't until we got to high school when we became full-on friends. We bonded over battles with parents. We both had dads who expected us to be academic geniuses and get their money's worth at elite private schools. Meanwhile, we just wanted to make each other laugh with stories about stolen Ferraris and sexual encounters with supermodels, all the while taking the piss out of our elite religious schooling. We were very immature. We weren't. We were absolute idiots. But most people I knew in the 90s were complete idiots. And people would do ridiculous things just to impress their mates. So when I left school, I got a job in the country when I was about 19. So moved there and I met a girl and she went to Europe and I followed her and that relationship didn't quite work out. But I stayed in Europe and I had a great time in Scotland and travelled across Europe and learnt you could be an Aussie dickhead anywhere in the world. So I came home in 1995. That was the year that Gangster's Paradise dropped and Telecom became Telstra and they introduced the boiler room at the big day out. And some of you were there, I can tell. And I was ready to hang out with old friends. And I turned up to Maddie's house unannounced, just rocked up, and he was living in this big flat above a laundromat that his housemate's mum owned, and also a Chinese restaurant. And the guys at the Chinese restaurant were awesome. They'd give us food and stuff, but they always had this rule that we weren't allowed to make noise before 11 o'clock because there was a restaurant going on. And if we did, they would just turn the power off, which happened a couple of times. But on a Monday night, the restaurant was closed, so we could make as much noise as we wanted. So a friend's band would come and rehearse at this house. And so when they decided to enter the Battle of the Bands at the UWA Tavern, we went along to support them. Now, I hadn't been to uni at this point in time, but the rumours were true. The beer was really cheap. So there we were, drinking jug after jug of ice-cold Swan Draft, listening to some of the most average music that UWA and Perth had to offer. And it was awesome. It was, I was with my best mate, Maddie, again, where we're having such a great time. It was Perth, it's summer. It was just amazing. We're having the time of our lives. We were just in heaven, and I'm thinking, I just never want this to end. And my synapses start firing, I'm just going off and going like, oh, this is the best time of my life. How can I make this friendship last forever? How can I make this moment last forever? Because I'm feeling the love, and I'm thinking we're more than just mates, we're more than just friends. We're like brothers, And just as the sun's going down and it's dipping below the horizon and the alcohol's really kicking in, that's when it comes to me. And I turn to Maddie and I say, we should become blood brothers. And we know how it's done because we've seen all the movies, like you cut your hand and you grasp each other like this and your blood mixes and you form this inseparable bond that you'll be best mates until the end of days, And Maddie looks at me and he goes, yeah, awesome, let's do it, yeah. So we head out to the car park to seal the deal. And because I'm a well-travelled kind of guy at this point in time, so I pull out my little red Swiss Army knife, you know. And the corkscrew, no. The can opener, no. That little thing for taking stuff out of horses' hooves, no. The blade, there we are, and the blade's sharp. And I go first because it's my idea. And I put the blade to my palm, but I'm a real wimp, so I just kind of do it a little bit, break a little bit of skin, just a little bit of blood, a bit like if you graze your elbow or something like that, you know, just a little tiny bit of blood. And I close my fist and I hand the knife over to Matty. And he gets it and he grabs unlike me, he grabs the blade and he just pulls it. And he looks at his hand and he grabs the blade again and does it again. And we seal the deal. We clasp our hands together like Tango and Cash, you know, like Arnie and Carl Weathers in Predator, like Corey Haim and Corey Feldman, you know, like. And I look at him and I say, I love you, man. You're my brother and we're bonded for life. And we say, let's go and get another beer. And as we're turning away, I look at my hand and it's covered in blood. And I think to myself, I don't remember cutting myself that badly. And I look up and Matty, he's already gone. He's disappeared into the crowd. So I stumble off after him. And I think, I better get to the toilet. So I'm heading towards the bathroom and I see this trail of blood. And I open up the door to the gents and there's Matty standing at the sink with his hand in the sink washing another. And he looks up at me and he goes, dude, I think I cut myself really badly, eh? So I head over to him. We don't panic. We just wrap it up in toilet paper and we head back out to the beer garden. And we meet up with our mates whose band we'd gone to see. And just so happens that they're all med students. And my mate takes one look at the hand and he goes, dude, you got to get to the hospital, eh? So we jump in the back of his car and that's when it hits me that I've just injured my best mate in the world. And I start bawling, going, I'm sorry, man, I'm sorry. And he's going, I'm sorry too. You know, it's like a couple of boys trying to be men but behaving like babies in the backseat of a car without a harness, you know. And we get dropped off at the emergency room and we dry our eyes in the waiting room along with all the other drunk dickheads that have done stupid things that night. We eventually get in to see the doctor and he's not much older than us and he says, so how did this happen? We go, I cut his hand on glass. And the doctor looks at us and he goes, these are very clean, straight cuts for a glass cut. And there's 2 identical cuts. And we're, I don't know. It's weird, eh? Far out. So we eventually get out of the hospital and we get back to the flat above the Chinese restaurant. We smoke a bit of weed and we watch some Mad Max movies, you know. But I just can't help but feel bad, you know. For the next day, I feel bad. Weeks, months, I just feel really bad, you know. I've injured my best mate in the world. Like I got this tiny little cut in my hand, and Maddie ended up with 12 stitches and nerve damage in his hand. But I know what you're all wondering. I know what you're all curious about. Did it work? Are we still mates? Blood oath we are. Thanks, guys.